I'm delighted to see you again, and thanks so much for joining me. This is Dennis Kelly of First Impressions Media, and today we're going to look at tip number 8 of our top 10 advertising mistakes. And what we've uncovered in the first 7 tips are some simple basic strategies that can have very powerful effect and repercussions for you. I want to make sure that you've worked really hard to get to this point where you have $5 or $10 or $20 or $30,000 to spend, or maybe more, maybe less, but in round numbers, you've got a few dollars put aside to help market your product or service. That's fantastic. I'm always thrilled to hear that, because you can never give a media buyer, that's me, you can never give a buyer enough money. That being said, your buyers should be very smart and efficient and be a responsible steward of your advertising resources, no matter how big or small. But one thing I want to caution many advertisers is an unrealistic expectation that your ads campaign will transform your business overnight. There have been a few notable exceptions, but in the majority, too many advertisers have delusions of grandeur that this new ad is going to suddenly trigger an avalanche of revenue overnight. Da, 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 da. Well, if that happens and yours is the one in a million shot that everyone plunks down their credit card and suddenly you're in the money, fantastic. I am so thrilled and excited for you. That is a wonderful result, and you should celebrate. The harsh reality is those moments, those one in a millions, are exactly that. And the other 900,900 plus are still laboring every day to capture their audience's attention, to make sure that they are delivering the message or messages efficiently and effectively. And while you are hopeful that it'll happen overnight, you have to temper that with the reality that yours is only one of maybe 2,000 or 3,000 messages that every consumer is exposed to every day. That's either wildly exaggerated or terribly conservative, depending on whom you talk to. But there are a number of studies out there that have measured the amount of ads that we are exposed to on a daily basis in some way, shape, or form, audio, video, in whatever format. And so we are constantly inundated. And respectfully, dear advertiser, what makes you believe that your little ad is going to be a world changer? Here's a snippet for you to bear in mind. There are over 100 daily newspapers still being produced in Canada, and dozens more of the ethnic language newspapers, and a bunch more of the free daily newspapers, and a host of other newspapers specific to a particular field. The average daily newspaper, if you cut it all up, the total content of words and pages amounts to approximately 3 voluminous novels every day. You're prepared to read 3 novels that thick and hope that yours is the ad that stands out? I hope so. Really and truly, I do hope that manifests itself for you. But when I'm up against all of that other competition of text and messages just in one vehicle, I want to make sure that I'm doing enough to keep my profile as prominent as possible and work for the slow build. Because nobody, this is a personal aside, ladies and gentlemen, nobody has jumped out of bed saying, goodness sake, where can I find a good media guy? That hasn't happened. But by regular, consistent marketing and advertising and letting people know what it is I do, that has stood me in good stead for winning new business. And I want the same for you, to have a consistent, steady drip of messaging that demonstrates who you are, what you do, what your product or service is, and over time you will develop the trust and the confidence to do business with people who like doing business with you. You want to earn their confidence and their trust. So the reality, as I mentioned, says otherwise, that despite your best efforts, yours might not be the 1 in a million shot. So earlier I suggested that you create a calendar and how you map out the year. So let's take another piece of paper, and this time write down ahead of time what it is you want your ad to do. Is it to stimulate sales right now? Is it to get people to sign up for a free report on the website? Maybe you want them to call you to set up an appointment. Is to cut out this coupon and save on a trial offer? How are you going to measure? What's your metric or metrics if it's successful? Right now you have a benchmark of 0 awareness and 0 sales. By spending $500 or $5,000 or $50,000 on your campaign, what do you hope to achieve? What's your metric for whether it performed well or not? Now certainly, as I mentioned previously, you want the ad to bring back at least what it costs. But clearly identify up front what you want to expect the end result to be. We spent $50,000 on this campaign. We want to see a minimum of $75,000 come back. Okay, that's a good measure. You want to see $1.50 return for every dollar you spent. That's not unachievable, but you need to know what it is you're trying to achieve so you can measure whether or not you've hit your target. And if you exceed that and your $50,000 spent brings back $200,000, kudos, you've done something tremendously right. Well done. But you can't deliver to your expectations if you don't know what they are and set them out ahead of time. So please go into your campaign with a clear understanding and an open mind of what this sales messaging is trying to do. When you know what it is you're after, and not just, oh, let's just run an ad, there's a lot more art and science behind it than just that. I want to see that your spending is done smartly and efficiently and effectively. And regardless of how much you are spending, remember, you will spend the same amount of money whether the campaign works or not. So spend it well. And as always, please visit www.firstimpressionsmedia.ca. I'll be glad to help. Until the next time, have a great day.